Hello everyone and welcome to the YouTube character profile re-upload of Martin Platt character profile, which is from episode 276 of the podcast, recorded way back in 2017. Little did we know back then that we'd be about a year away from Martin's reappearance on the show. So this was not a complete profile of him, but if you come back at the end, I guess we'll say a little bit more about what happened when we last saw him.
Yes, and when was this recorded originally?
I just said it was recorded.
What date?
It was October 2017.
Okay, so I open up talking about stupid nurses, and I think it was a reference to something that was happening in Coronation Street, and I don't know what it was.
No problem there.
I'd like to apologise for all the nurses, because out of context, it doesn't make any sense.
We're recording this on the anniversary of the first lockdown, Joe. We're supposed to be clapping
during a pandemic when, obviously, we owe our lives to nurses.
They did. They jabbed me in the arm just last week, and you.
Yeah. So, apologies, and find out the interesting twist at the end of his profile, and wonder why is it that we're doing an extended version.
Oh yes. Well, listen and wait and see and find out. Right, so let's crack on with a classic character profile this week. It feels like it's been a long time since we've done a classic character profile, but we are back, and this week we are looking at Martin Platt, because we thought that a lot of Monday's episode, as much as we didn't really enjoy the stuff with Max going missing, it did highlight yet again, as Gemma said earlier, that David is actually quite a good dad. Did he have a good dad? Let's find out and do a little profile of him. Now, also what?
Stupid nurses.
Oh yes, the nurse link, of course. Nurses going off and possibly having affairs with people.
That's what you were talking about when you were saying about Monday's episodes. Like, yes, it's a stupid nurse.
No, that is a good look. Martin is perfect in this week. He's another one as well where I think, are we sure we haven't done Martin yet? We seem to have done most of all the main characters in the past, but I'm pretty sure that we haven't done Martin yet.
I think a lot of people have forgotten about Martin, I'm going to say.
He is a fairly forgettable character, although he's a very important character. I mean, he's the 29th. Could
still come back.
Could
still come back.
He could, but I don't think Sean is up for that. So let's have a rundown his vital statistics we have, haven't we? We gave his cookbook away as a competition prize. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Right. He was born on the 2nd of June 1968 to Barry and Barbara Platt.
Second of the month baby, like us.
Like us too, yeah. He's got a sister, apparently. Another Platt auntie, but who knows?
She's called Lydia. She's called Aunt Lydia.
No, who knows what she's called? Don't know. He's been married once. Maybe twice. I don't know whether he's married, this new floozy he's off with at the moment, but he was definitely married to Gail in 1991. He has got a child, David Platt, of course. David was born in 1990. And then in 1991, he adopted Nick and Sarah Louise. And he also had a new daughter born in 2006 after he left the show. But if we trust Coripedia, which of course we do, they haven't got a name for her yet. Martin first appeared on Coronation Street on the 28th of January 1985, and he last appeared on the 9th of November 2005 after a staggering 1,639 episodes, which makes him the 29th most featured character ever on Coronation Street, which seems huge, because I think you're right in saying that he is fairly forgettable.
I didn't say he's forgettable, I'm just saying forgotten. I don't think anyone remembers him.
No, I mean, people obviously remember.
I don't know why he's been. I don't say he was forgettable. I just think people have forgotten him.
People remember about. I don't think people have got many fond memories of Martin. Maybe
I don't remember many iconic things happening with Martin. I just remember him standing around in his uniform sometimes behind the sofa. Yeah.
Well, you know what? This is going to be a perfect character profile for you then, Gemma, because we get to find out exactly what he got up to in those 20 years or so. So. In 1985, he arrived on the street, he'd left school, he was a fresh-faced 17, 18-year-old or so, he's got his 2 GCSEs, he's set for life, he's now studying at Salford Technical College and working in Jim's Cafe. And when you move to a new place, obviously as a hot-blooded young male, sets his sights on looking for the local totty, Jenny Bradley.
Jenny Bradley, local totty.
Exactly. Comes along, although to be fair, he was more interested in just a friendship with Jenny than anything else. She fancied it. Yeah, she liked to. He was a slightly older man than her, because she was.
She likes older men.
That is true. She's got form for this, or is it form if it's happened afterwards? Maybe not. So yeah, she was like 15 or 16 at the time. He was 17 or 18.
Underage.
So a little bit of a gay age
Illegal.
gap. Well, I don't know. Maybe she was 16. I don't know. Anyway. he is friends with her, and at the time she's all up trying to be the next Alexandra Burke. Is that a reference? I don't know. She goes on to all these talent shows and trying to get Alec Gilroy to pay attention to her and doing a lovely singing. And one night, end of 1986, she is going to a talent contest, which I think she wins. Yes, she does. First prize, it says here. On the way back, she persuades Martin to let her take hold of the wheel of the car. Not able to drive. She hasn't got a
Unlike
license or anything.
Jesus, she's not a good driver.
Yes.
Do you not
Anyway,
know that
I don't know that reference.
Jesus take the wheel?
I do not know that reference. Anyway, she has a crash, and so does he, because he's in the car.
He's in the car with her. You could.
He
you
is
have a
left
choice.
unconscious. She's all right, because she's got that big 80s
Bouffant.
hairdo. Yeah,
Lots of
lots of
hairspray.
hairspray. She's fine. So she persuades Martin to take the blame. Obviously, she doesn't want anyone to know that she was the one driving at the time.
And he's like, yes, there will be no consequences for me.
Yeah, but no, she eventually confesses because Alan, her dad, confronts Martin about it. He's obviously not too happy to hear that this.
Crash nearly killed his daughter.
Yes. So Jenny said, "Oh yeah,
It was me.
It
I
was me.
did
It
it."
were me what done it."
Right, in 1987, he snubs Jenny at her 16th birthday in favour of Edwina Turner.
Edwina Turner. I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is, but she
hasn't even
sounds
got a
dead
page on
posh.
Corripedia, so she's not that important. Martin.
I bet she was
chose the
beautiful.
wrong
I
woman
bet she
there.
had a really nice scarf on or something.
Probably.
In the 80s, she would have had a big scarf. She also won £250 on a scratch card.
Nice.
Platt family, very...
Yeah, they're good with the scratch cards.
Yeah. He puts it in with his savings to buy a car.
Ah.
Then he heads off to France
Ooh la
with
la.
Jenny, because she's 16 now, and apparently that's what you do. Goes grape picking with her.
Yeah.
Euphemism?
No,
Or
actually,
grape
actual
pick.
grape picking. Alan didn't want her to go. Obviously, he wanted her to stay on at school and do her A levels, but she's like, no, I'm going off to
I'm
France.
going to France. He comes back without her because she has fallen for Frenchman Patrice Podevin.
Exactly.
That's not a real name.
So that is kind of it for any potential romance with Martin and Jenny. Gosh, what could have been? In 1998.
Jenny Bradley could have
1988,
been
sorry.
David Platt's
I know,
mum.
I know.
What a world.
I know. Alternate universe. 1988, he has a little bit of a relationship with Gina. Gina Seddon, Sally's sister Gina, in the few episodes that she was in it.
Ah.
That doesn't last for long, 'cause she's not in it for long. But then he does get a job for Alan, working with Alan Bradley, Alan Bradley at his security system business. And he finds out that Alan is cheating on Rita, because he's a dirty cheat.
How could he? She's got a brain tumour.
I know. 1989, what happened there? Well, on Jenny's 18th birthday, she and Martin have been out somewhere. I don't know what's going on, whether they're together or not. But anyway, they come home and they find Alan is trying to kill Rita.
She's going to die
because he's up to
eventually.
no good. And he's done stuff with the house deeds and all this stuff.
Oh,
He's
no.
turned into a proper wrung-un by 1989. It's funny looking back on these classic episodes, because I watched like one this week and Alan was in it again. And he's still like a nice guy. There's not a trace, as far as I could tell, of him being like evil Alan Bradley. It's like, you just wait. I know what you're going to turn into. Anyway, Alan escapes. Martin gives chase. No good. Towards the end of the year, though, in 1989, he grows closer to a little character called Gail. I think you might have heard of her.
Gail.
Gail Tilsley at the time.
Never heard of her.
But Brian, her husband, has been stabbed outside a nightclub, so she's feeling a little bit down about that. Martin offers a supportive arm. And he's a bit younger than her, 10 years, I think, which, I don't know, for him, I suppose, being, 20 or however old he was at the time, that's quite a big gap. They fall in love, though. And the next year, she gets pregnant. Quick work.
Not really. It takes about 9 months. You can't rush it.
That is very true. What else happened?
She wanted to have the baby aborted because she thought Martin was too young to have a father. That has never stopped a man, as far as I can tell. He finds out and stops her from doing it, and then David is born on Christmas Day.
Yes.
Just like Jesus. There are so many parallels with Jesus in this storyline.
I know.
Jesus driving, Jesus born on Christmas Day.
Sure, there'll be more to come. We'll have to see.
Earlier in the previous segment, he was telling Billy not to steal money.
Yeah.
In fact, I would
He's
say
everywhere.
Jesus is the big
All
major
around.
character we need to do next.
1991, they got married. Martin adopts Sarah Louise and Nick. Ivy, Brian's mum, didn't like any of this. She didn't like the fact that Gail was moving on from Brian quite so soon.
Also, she's not Catholic.
Yeah, exactly.
I know this story.
You know this story, don't you? Yeah. Ivy was a cantankerous old grandma that wasn't happy with this at all. 1992. Carmel. Now, this is a storyline that I didn't know too much about, but the name Carmel Finnan was, I think my mum and dad were watching it back at the time, and then I think they quite like this story. This other student nurse, who's invited to live with the Platts because she's got some dodgy old accommodation somewhere. So Gail says, "It's all right, you come and live with us."
It's good that we now treat nurses much better than we did in the 90s.
Oh yeah,
isn't it?
of course. Yeah, we've moved on.
This would never happen now.
So Carmel becomes obsessed with Martin, and she tries to drive a wedge between him and Gail. She convinces herself that Martin's madly in love with her, and she's going to steal him away from Gail, or liberate him from Gail's clutches, I suppose she would have thought back at the time. So she doesn't pass on messages to Gail. She tells Sally that Gail and Martin are having marriage problems. She even tells people that David is her son. She would
not be so quick to say that in the future years.
Yeah, she doesn't want to get her hands on him, really. She gets into bed with David. No, he gets into... No, sorry. That
Wait a minute, start again.
Martin, one night, got into bed with Carmel because he was drunk. He came home after a drunken night out, and he didn't know what he was doing. I think he thought that it was Gail he was getting to bed with. She's obviously thrilled by this, is Carmel, so she confesses her love to him. He tries to get rid of her, but she just carries on trying to make passes at him, trying to take advantage of him, and eventually Gail has enough of this, or she finds out about it. I suppose she doesn't tolerate it for that long, to be honest, and then she throws her out when she realises exactly the extent of Carmel's obsession. 1993. Carmel says, "I'm pregnant with Martin's baby. That night that you found us in bed, that he got into bed with me, he had his wicked way with me, and now I'm going to have Martin's baby." So Gail confronts her, and she falls down the stairs, Carmel does, at her bedsit, and it turns out that when she is checked, she was never pregnant at all. Who'd have thought a woman would lie about something like that? Terrible.
We're not allowed to.
They are eventually freed from Carmel's crazy clutches when her grandfather turns up and said, "Oh yeah, she used to be obsessed." She's always doing this to people. She was obsessed with someone else as well. Off you go. Sorry about that.
We're going back
she hasn't
to
caused too much problem. Off we go. Right. You carry on for a bit because I feel like I've done.
Where are you?
I'm in 1994. I know I seem to feel like I'm doing this. Well,
excuse me.
No, I don't. I'm not saying you're not wanting to.
1994. Martin's worried about his job when a bereaved mother tries to sue the hospital for being understaffed. That's the best way to solve that problem.
Yeah, there's a girl there at the hospital who dies from asthma, and the woman's saying, there wasn't
you shouldn't
enough
really
people.
Die of asthma, should you?
Exactly.
Well, I guess not really, but there was no asthma people around, so you don't have any money. And she's like, "Right, give me all your money."
I think she tries to get Gail on her side to say, "Isn't this hospital terrible?" But
it's sad that they didn't have crowdfunding back in those days. Martin has problems with Nick. He starts saying he's not his real dad. He's just a nurse. True, Nurses can be dads too, Nick.
Nick starts to develop a bit of an obsession with Brian and makes him out to be some amazing kind of tough biker dude and everything. And compared to Martin, who is just a nurse, male nurse at that, he's he goes on a bit of a rebellious streak, does Nick, in 94.
Nick moves in with Don, and Martin washes his hands of him, and then he has a row with Gail.
Lots of rowing with Gail.
Or more than one.
Marital problems between Martin and Gail abound in 94.
Don't write notes and then get me to read them and then interject because your notes are not sufficient enough to explain what happens.
At least you didn't read it out as Q rowing with Gail. If we're going to sort this out, go and get our rowing.
We're going to go out on the boat.
Row on the Manchester
Gale
Canal.
Force, we're going out. Right.
Lots of rowing.
Also that year, Martin sleeps with a student nurse called Kathy Power on Christmas Day. David's birthday.
I know.
Jesus' birthday.
I know.
They agree to keep it a secret, but they are spotted kissing by Alf.
Yeah, Alf is there
doing
his...
I must remind you again, not the alien.
Alf is doing his mayoral rounds of the hospital. He sees it.
Don't kiss in hospitals, because you could get germs. In 1995, Alf tells Audrey, and then Martin has to confess to Gail. and she wants to kick him out, but he says, I'll never cheat again, and then he passes his nursing exam. Those two not related.
They're not, it's just two facts that happened.
Two
you know
things
what
happen.
happens when people on soaps promise that something will never ever happen again?
It always happens
I'll let
again.
you guess what happens. Now, I was doing my research about Martin at the weekend of this, and I couldn't really find that much that happened in 1996 to
He was
1997.
mourning for Princess Diana for in most of 1997.
Listening to Spice Girls in 1996, like
Yeah,
Todd was in
exactly.
the shower, we learned this week. Yeah, he didn't really seem to do much. I didn't think he had any storylines. He was in loads of episodes, but just as a
Wasn't
bit of a
doing
background
anything.
person.
Just
Although
like
there is
my
a picture.
day-to-day life.
There is a picture from that era of him in his nurse's outfit sitting next to a nurse played by Lisa George. Because, yes, Becca's not the first character that Lisa George has played.
That
She used
scamp.
to be a nurse.
Wow.
1998, Trouble at the Hospital. Les Battersby.
You can't criticise a character for not really being in it very much, because if they made a soap of our lives, I don't think we'd be in it very much.
No, we don't have that much exciting stuff
No.
happen to us. Les Battersby ends up in hospital in 1998, and obviously Martin's a nurse there. Martin and Les had a bit of a
Barney.
yeah, right. It was a bit of a
Disagreement.
rivalry. Les was always making fun of Martin for being a nurse
Yeah.
as well. He called him Florence, as after Florence Nightingale, obviously. But anyway, while Les is in hospital, he helps himself to some extra drugs from the trolley behind Martin's back, and then he ends up having to get his stomach pumped because he's
You
overdosed.
can't just take any drugs.
No, well, Les thinks she can because he's just kind of taking advantage. And then he says that Martin knew that he had the drugs. In fact, he gave him those extra drugs on purpose. So Martin is suspended from the hospital and investigated.
In 1999, he has to resign because his bosses believe Les.
Well, that's Les Battersby. Why would you?
What idiots.
Why would you
He
believe
gets a
him?
job at an old folks home because apparently they're desperate for anybody, and even if you go around drugging people, that's fine to work at an old folks home. Then he gets sacked because the council get involved because Audrey, he tells Audrey about how terrible everything is.
Yeah,
So they're hiring
awful
nurses with no
conditions there.
qualifications.
The old folks' home.
He gets his nursing job back because that's what happens when you rat on people.
Yeah. New affair in 1999. Rebecca Hopkins this time.
These nurses have got brilliant names.
Rebecca Hopkins, is that
And
a
also
good
what's
name?
the other one? Power.
Oh yeah, Kathy Powers or something.
So
Yeah, so Martin obviously has got a thing for his fellow nurses because by the end of the year,
he likes women in
he's
uniform.
already had an affair with her and slept with her. I mean, she had a violent husband, and he helped her kind of get away from him. But yeah, in bed
and
by
then
the end
into
of the
bed
year.
with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
In 2000, he was getting ready to leave Gail to be with Rebecca, but then he finds out that Sarah finds out that she's pregnant, so his plans change, and Rebecca goes to take a job in Dubai for
Yeah.
some reason.
Why not? Crying out for nurses in Dubai. Martin doesn't want to go and live in Dubai because he's obviously got to help
after his
Sarah live
family.
with his baby.
He
and that.
separates from Gail anyway. Then he sees Rebecca while out Christmas shopping. Apparently, she's come back.
Back from Dubai because
There's not good
shopping
enough
in
shops
Dubai
there.
not so
She
good.
comes back. They don't have Christmas, I guess. So she comes
That's
back
true.
for that. And the pair end up sleeping together for a Christmas treat. And she says, come back to Dubai with me. And he says, no, it is a soulless place. I shall never set foot there.
Yeah. 2001, divorce from Gail comes through. So he's like, right, I'm going to spread my wild oats further. He starts a relationship with Sally. I'd forgotten this happened. I'd completely forgotten that in fact, a lot of this Martin stuff, I'd completely forgotten that happened. And I was definitely watching it back then.
Were you watching it properly? No.
Clearly not. The Martin scenes must have just been a bit switched
Must have
off
fell
from.
asleep.
Yeah, so he starts a relationship with Sally. Kevin's not happy with that,
Why?
of course, so he smashes up Martin's car.
That's because he's a professional. He knows exactly how to smash it up.
Yeah, he knows what's the right places to do it.
Place to do it.
Anyway, the relationship soon fizzles out there.
Because Martin's not got a car to take her out anymore.
Martin's nearly killed in 2002 because his flat catches on fire. He's sleeping. It's when there was the hardware store where the prima donna is now, and Martin was in the flat above. But he's all right. He escapes. And then
This is weird to look back at now.
This is what I remember. I know.
Me too.
This is what I remember from Martin. The affair that he had, or the relationship, should we say, that he had with Katie Harris in 2003, when Martin was just 34.
Same
which
age
is
as
my
you.
age.
I don't think you were thinking he was just 34 when you were watching it, though. You were probably like,
No.
look at that lecherous old man.
I know.
Look how
I was
old
thinking,
he
look how
is.
old he is.
How can he possibly want to go out? Mind you, I am thinking, why would you want to go out with a 16-year-old?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so he
Katie
falls in love
Harris.
with Katie, who's obviously the daughter of his mate Tommy, and
Little known fact about Katie, she was diabetic.
she
You might
was
not know that.
diabetic. We'll come to
Unless
that
you're an
later. Don't
expert.
worry. Tommy attacks Martin and his son Craig tampers with Martin's brakes. But despite all this, the relationship endures. I was really surprised when
Harris family do not approve of this relationship.
Well, no, you wouldn't really, would you? Somebody twice. Martin has definitely got a thing for people that aren't really in the right age bracket for him. Gail was a bit old. Jenny was a bit young, although nothing really happened there. Katie was totally too young.
I can't imagine looking at a 16-year-old and thinking anything other than you're a child.
Yeah.
And you should be at school.
Quite. So yeah, I was really surprised when I was doing the research for this, just how long they stayed together.
Katie Harris how old was she then? The
16.
actress.
Oh, well, 17, 18 probably.
Oh,
I don't
okay, it's
know
not
how
that bad.
Lucy Joe was. 2004, he attacks his colleague. I've written Kark here, but I think his name is Carl.
I really like.
I think it's Carl.
Foster. Why isn't that a name?
Not Kark.
Could be, couldn't
Carl
it?
Foster. So because he finds out that Carl has been having an affair with Todd, who is actually, were they married to Sarah? I can't remember. In a relationship, let's say, with Sarah at the time. So yeah, he beats him up. He's sacked, given his job back. He's in and out of this job at the hospital a lot over his years on Corrie.
Nurse shortages.
2005, he is still together with Katie, who is trying to get herself pregnant. Martin's not up for this, but I think if I'm remembering right, and I couldn't find this anywhere on the internet, but I think Katie stops taking her pills or switches her pills out for something else or something like that.
She was going for record-breaking grandma status, so she wanted to have a baby as soon as possible.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like competing against the Platts, isn't it? How many generations can you get
have
alive together at once? Katie tells Martin that she's pregnant. He is not happy with this. She is told by her dad, Tommy, that Martin is having an affair.
And she thinks, well, he's got form for it.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's why it's so believable. So she has an abortion. Then she finds out that Tommy was making it up all along. So she finds out, and what would you do when your dad's lied to you about...
Kill him.
Exactly, that's what she said. She gets a wrench, whacks him on the head. I really enjoyed that scene.
I thought this was brilliant.
This is one of the kind of the more memorable things of the time.
I love things like this on soaps, but more murders.
Yeah. But
she kills herself as well.
She sugars herself to death, doesn't she? And because she's diabetic, and then that's the end of that.
Like,
Martin,
this is a bad move.
What? Yeah.
I'm gonna leave him.
I'm leaving. I'm off.
I'm gonna fall for this
in love.
Robin PE teacher lady.
Yeah.
And I'm going to Liverpool. Get the hell out of here.
How Martin and Robin met was Martin. This is also tying into something that's happening in Coronation Street at the moment. He was the Weatherfield County mascot, who at the time was... Oh, God, I can't remember. It was some kind of animal.
Badger.
Might have been.
Moth.
I don't know. I saw this the other day. I can't remember now. But anyway, there's a little race with another mascot who's dressed as a fox. And this is it. The foxy lady beats him in the race.
Fox.
Yeah. And then they get together and
let's go to Liverpool.
They go to Liverpool together, and that was the end of Martin.
And she's like, fine, they've got PE there too. I can go where I like.
Yeah, so that is it for old Martin. That was the stories that he was in, and he's been referenced a lot in the show since. In fact, the next year David went to go and visit him and said, oh yeah, Martin and Robin are having a baby together, and basically for the last 10 odd years, Martin's managed to find many excuses not to come to family weddings.
Well, he's still only 11, this kid of his. He's got lots of stuff to do for it.
Yeah, but you still go to your weddings, don't you? You didn't go to Nick's wedding, you didn't go to Sarah's wedding, you didn't go to David's wedding.
I'd go to any wedding I got invited to, but that's just me.
Probably knows that there's too much drama at these weddings. It's only in Liverpool
it's
as well.
It's 50-50 chance you're going to get married anyway. I'm not turning up for that. Tell me when you're actually married.
As we know from Toya,
and even if you do
the
get
journey
married,
to Liverpool is just not worth making when you're in Manchester. There's obviously in the universe of Coronation Street, there's no direct connection from Manchester. It's like
most of them don't have cars though. You can have to go on a coach.
Windy roads. David is also goes to visit him quite a lot.
Do you think he's friends with Pat?
Yeah, they all know each other there. They're all friendly in Liverpool, aren't they? They're well known for it. David gets fed up with Gail and Joe in 2009, so he goes to see Martin then. A couple of years ago, during all the Callum stuff, David went and said, right, I'm not having any more of this. I'm off to see Martin. And then last year, after Kylie died, he went to go and see his dad as well. And apparently he's doing pretty well for himself. He's got a new house, he's got a big garden, he's got a promotion at work.
He's the main nurse. He's
doing quite well now. He's away from Gail.
Main nurse.
Yeah. So there you go. How much of that did you actually remember?
No.
Was it literally just the Katie story?
Yes.
because I think I'd probably say the same thing. I don't know what it is about Martin, but he's kind of a solid. He's an important part of Coronation Street history, being one of the Platts. You can't help but be important. He was there for 20 years. But he just never really had a story to get his teeth into, apart from that Katie, did he? He's just like, let's have an. It's almost like, yeah, let's give him have an affair. I've got no idea. What should we do with Martin? What do we do with characters when we don't know what
We've
to do
got
with
ourselves
them?
a sexy nurse.
One night stand.
Yeah, have an affair with somebody.
Yeah. But anyway, the actor, Sean Wilson, left in 2006. This is a bit of an interesting story. So apparently the first news that came out about this was that he'd been dropped because his character was thought to have been played out, which I think is definitely true. After the Katie storyline, they were like, this is all we had in the bag for Martin. We have got no idea what to do with him now. And this was a shock to Sean, apparently, although later he said the producers did him a favour. Now, since then...
That's what I would have said.
Since then, when he brought out his cookbook a few years ago, he went on and said a bit more about this. He said he would never return to Coronation Street. The reason he said he was dropped was not because of Martin being played out. Apparently, they wanted to have a story where Martin would be jailed for having a relationship with an underage girl. So he was gonna end up with someone under 16. And apparently Sean was like, no.
So be a paedophile, and he went, I don't really want to play a paedophile.
But he said,
And they said, well, leave then if you don't. And he went, okay, I'm going.
Apparently that is what's supposed to have happened. And he said in his book, or when he was promoting the book or something, I don't know, I will act again, but never with Coronation Street. They were very rude to me when I left. I would rather walk down any other street, even if I had a nail in my shoe. So there's a little bit of
drama there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Wonder how much of that is true.
I don't know. I mean,
I wouldn't put it past them.
I wouldn't put it past the storyliners to say, oh, well, he's gone out with Katie, let's see how far we can push the boundaries.
I also don't think I would have really liked that storyline. But
no, that would have been icky.
But that would have been the sort of storyline that people talked about.
I know, well, it's taboo, isn't it? It's very...
Oh, yes, being a paedophile is quite taboo.
Just a little bit.
I've heard this said before.
Have they had other...
I don't think they've had a pedo, have they?
No. I wonder if they would. I wonder if this
should do.
Maybe this is Kate Oates' story that she's feeling a little bit worried about next year. Don't think so. I don't think they would. I think it would have been very disrespectful to the character to have had that happen if this is.
But you know, your sexuality could change at any moment.
Oh yeah, of course. Anyway, he doesn't need to come back to Corrie anyway, does he? He's a bit of a big cheese at the moment. You'll pardon the pun.
Cheese, you say?
He owns the Saddleworth Cheese Company, and he's doing very well for himself. He's cooked in Michelin-star restaurants. He's had his own TV show. He's had his own book, The Great Northern Cookbook, which you mentioned earlier.
It's the Great Northern Cookbook.
Cookbook, as they say up north. He's doing great for himself.
If you're listening, send us some cheese. No, don't send us cheese. I can't eat any cheese.
I don't think he would, because we've just said his character's a little bit boring.
No. So?
Mine's great. I don't like lots of cheese,
Sean
though. Have you got any cheddar?
That's true. Michael only really likes cheddar cheese. It's really stupid.
And ones that are
you
quite
like mozzarella,
cheddar.
You like parmesan, you like cheddar. And if I tried to make you eat anything different...
No, I like Gruyere and... what's that other one that's French that I like?
Emmental.
Emmental, yeah. The boring cheeses I like. And also Boursin. That's got a bit of a kick.
Why do you like that, but you don't like goat's cheese?
Goat's cheese is disgusting.
You eat goat's cheese.
Cheese of the devil.
You eat goat's cheese quiche.
It's horrible.
No, I make one and you eat it and you don't know it's got goat's cheese in it.
Do you?
Yeah.
You don't?
I do indeed. You don't know which one it is. I didn't think Martin was that boring. I don't think they should have made him a paedophile, but...
No, you're glad that they didn't make him a paedophile, you mean?
What?
Or would you say that when he went out with Katie, was that still a bit too dodgy?
Okay, well, the thing is about paedophiles is that they're attracted to... Technically, the definition of a paedophile is somebody who's attracted to children who are not sexually developed or have gone through puberty yet. So him going out with Katie was not a sign that he's a paedophile.
No.
I think that's called epiphile or something. There's a special name for somebody who wants to go out with women who have just gone through puberty, who have got womanly features, but a paedophile is somebody who does not like that. So if they were to make him into a paedophile, it would have been a bit out of the blue.
Yeah, although I'm sure that at the time he probably had people like Les Battersby calling him a paedophile. That and like Tommy probably would have done as well.
Yeah, I mean, 16 is far too young.
Yeah,
when we watched when that was in the show, we were closer to that age than we were to his age. So it didn't seem that much of a big deal to me, because it's like, you know, when I was 16, when you're 16, you don't realise how young you are.
No.
You dating an older guy, yeah. The only thing would be, oh, he's a bit too old for me. He's a bit wrinkly and old.
I think I thought it was a bit weird.
It's a bit weird, but you wouldn't be like, oh, it's gross and icky.
But looking back on it now, it's really
horrible.
Is. No, yeah, it is.
Really
and
horrible.
Also looking back on it now, that is one of the main stories that I remember Martin for. I don't remember much about his nursing or his cafe work or anything at all, really. I would like to see him come back though after all of this, because he's one of these, you know, staple, important Coronation Street characters, and it is a little bit sad that he said he never will. It almost makes me think, should they just kill him off? Because there are going to be, with the Platts being one of the main, if not the main characters, families, on Coronation Street, there are going to be many times still to come in the future where they're going to have to come up with ridiculous excuses for Martin not to be able to come. Like, it's the baby's ill. Well, not as a baby anymore.
I think surely enough people have moved on from Coronation Street that there cannot be more than a handful of people still working there who were there when he left.
Well, you know, there's the old guard, isn't there? Like the Sallys and Kevin and...
I'm talking about behind the scenes. What I'm saying is...
behind the scenes
he says, they were rude to me, I would never go back. Surely all it would take is some new blood to come in and say, yeah, they treated you like crap. I'm not going to do that to you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'd like to see him back just because I like to see old faces. I mean, I don't know whether he'd be able to have any amazing stories. Well, I quite like the idea of him coming back being like, you know, a millionaire or something, and just showing how great he's done being away from Gail.
Get away from this place.
And seeing Gail's reaction to...
She would not like it.
Yeah, she's Mrs. Mop and he's, you know, this...
Mr. Fancy
well
Pants.
off in the last 10 years,
I'm
like how he's
nurse.
Reinvented himself. I wouldn't fancy him coming back with Robin or whatever her name is.
Well, the thing is, I was thinking about how would he slot into the street, and I think he would very much be like Kevin. Kevin came back to the show, and we were like, what's the point of him being here? He hasn't really got any links.
Yeah.
And he had his kid with him.
Yeah. Well, I
don't think he'd come back with Robin if he did come back.
No, it'd be like if Curly came back, he wouldn't bring old Emma with her, would he? It'd be interesting to see if there was any spark or anything between Martin and Jenny.
I know, that would be awesome. That would be really cool if he came
old
back.
Times.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, I'm with Johnny now. And he'd be like, oh, well, I don't mind about that. You know what I'm like.
I know, it's the thing.
I'm a big slag.
Martin gets accused of being boring, but...
He wasn't, was he? He was a Romeo.
Yeah, he was.
Actually, no, he wasn't. You're not supposed to be hypocritical. Men slags are just as bad as women slags.
Imagine.
They're all equally as good. It's up to you how you feel about it.
Just imagine how different it could have been if Martin and Jenny had got together, because I'm sure that would have been a story that would have been proposed back at the time, even though there's the mini age gap between them.
Age gaps are more important.
I'm sure that when Martin came into it, there was no kind of thought, let's give it a couple of years and we'll pair him off with Gail. There must have been some sort of, shall we put him with Jenny or not?
Yeah, probably.
And then maybe she could have stayed in for
longer.
Just
think of the parallel universes.
I know. And they could have had babies together. Apart from that, I don't know what Martin would particularly do now. I mean, I suppose with Rana still being in there, he could...
Yeah, but he's the main nurse now. He's the main nurse. You didn't listen.
He could have...
He's a rich main nurse.
He'd bed Rana, wouldn't he? He'd tempt her away from Kate or Zidane or whatever. She's not gay. She just fancies whoever. She can fancy whoever she likes. He'd probably end up working in the medical centre, to be fair, wouldn't he?
Pansexual.
Yes.
Don't know.
Because with Rana, like, does she work in the hospital much, or is she just...
No, she's a practice nurse. She's a practice nurse.
Oh, yeah.
It's stupid.
Well, mate, I don't know.
That's like saying, do you work at university? No, I work in a school.
Well,
could work in university.
do you
but no.
think that David is shaping up to be a better dad than Martin?
Yes.
If he's not going around having affairs behind his family's back, he's doing a better job.
He's doing a pretty
to be
good
honest.
job, yeah.
Despite the fact that Martin maybe wasn't the best role model, David's doing a pretty good shot of raising a kid who's not even his, to be honest. So that is it for Martin, really. Not much else to say about him. Maybe bring him back if you got something good for him.
Well,
Who knows?
Sean Wilson will not come back, so...
He will not come back, so it's all moot, really. Anyway,
He's
you
got
got
his
any...
cheese. Why would he come back? He's the king of cheese. If I was the queen of cheese, I would never work again. I'd just eat cheese all day long.
Cheese might go out of fashion.
Never.
There might be a drop in the cheese market, and then it'll be...
Unless everybody goes vegan.
Yeah, what if everyone...
But then you can branch into vegan cheese. Ha, checkmate.
What if there's some kind of cheese disease that goes round?
Vegan cheese. Make cheese out of cashew nuts.
Did you see the eggs don't have salmonella in anymore?
What?
I saw that in the news.
What?
The Red Line people have said that...
yeah, you can have them.
Yeah, you can eat them raw and
Pregnant
everything, even if you're
people can
pregnant.
eat them.
Yeah.
Hooray!
Right, anyway,
I
that's
don't
off
care about
topic.
that.
We've got a load
And
of
old
news.
people and young people.
Yeah, we've got a load of news to
On
share
to eat an
next.
egg now.
So that is it for Martin. If you didn't know about Martin, now you do. If you'd forgotten about Martin, now you've
you
remembered.
don't.
If you are a
Never
massive
knew.
fan of Martin, please tell us anything else that
If
we
you
might
like
have forgotten.
cheese, you might be interested to know he also likes cheese. Maybe he hates cheese now.
Well, yeah, too
Maybe
much
he's
of a
just
good thing,
gagging
isn't it?
for an opportunity to get out of the cheese game.
Maybe.
It's probably quite samey, isn't it? Oh,
Well,
look, another day, another cheese.
It would be if I worked at a cheese company, because I would only make cheddar cheese.
I'm only make 5 types of cheese.
And there we go, Martin Platt.
I'll
Almost-
never be in the show again.
Oh my, yeah. I always remember reading like quite a few times before we even recorded that profile, that particular quote about how he, that was the last thing he would ever do. But as I say, little did we know that we'd be seeing him on the show. A mere 5 months after we recorded that character profile, just for like 3 episodes or so, I think, which was bizarre. And it always did feel like it. I don't know. Was it just a bit of a cheese promotion? Because certainly a lot of Sean
Tell you
Wilson's cheese banded about on TV that week.
Worked on us.
It did. We bought some of Sean Wilson's cheese.
What did you think?
Delicious. I
go
very
into-
much enjoyed it.
You didn't listen to this profile, but I did.
I did not. I'm just...
And I can reveal to you
Yeah.
exclusively, because everyone else has already heard this, that you tell us what kind of cheese you like, and it's a very limited amount. But luckily for you, Sean Wilson's cheese range hits the spot, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Had we met I can't even speak, Sean Wilson, when we recorded that profile? Because we went to see him at some point in a cheese show, didn't we?
Yes,
and also
in Portsmouth.
Yes, and we also went to Manchester and saw his cheese stall. It was very
That
lovely.
was during the Christmas markets.
1 year.
Which is a very famous Manchester institution that we can only hope and dream will be back
Oh, yeah,
at
I
a
know,
certain
exactly.
point in time when we're all healthy and able to eat cheese without infecting one
Well,
another.
if you are up in Manchester around market time, then I do recommend trying to track down Sean's
cheese.
hut.
You can
Try it
actually
out.
you can actually buy it from some places, but I don't know where, because
Oh,
we're not being paid for any of this, so I don't really
remember
care.
we
Just
trawled the
Sean
supermarkets
Wilson.
after that
I think
cheese
he
fest,
was,
didn't we?
I
We
think it
couldn't
was
find
Asda
it.
that he
Maybe.
was selling his cheese in.
I'm not
Doesn't
sure. I'm not
matter.
sure. But
if
as
he
I
wants
say,
to
it's
pay us
very
money,
nice.
we can do a nice podcast about how great
I've
his
also
cheese
discovered
is.
since we recorded it how great an artist he is as well, because he does some
Yes.
really, really lovely watercolours and that, I think.
Pets and things, right?
But yeah, there's some pets, there's some food, some people, all sorts. He's a talented
Everything
man,
that's
is that,
important in
Sean?
life.
Yeah, so it's better. I don't know how he had the time to come back to Coronation Street in 2018. Oh, yes, I do, because it was only 3 episodes. And what it was just after David Platt's rape ordeal, and he was feeling a bit out of sorts. So we went to see his old dad to make him feel better. But he was obviously hiding hiding all of what had happened to him.
So hang on a minute. When Martin left the show, he went off with Robin, okay?
Yes.
When he met up with David, he was still with
He
Robin.
was still with Robin. They were expecting
True
their second
love.
child.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, screw you, Gail.
Yeah.
This one lasted a
cares
bit
about
longer
you,
than that.
Gail?
So David goes up to see Martin, who is thinking, or he's just getting ready to emigrate to New Zealand with Robin and
What
children.
a great idea.
Well, this is what David thought. He thought, I think I'll have a piece of that, actually, Dad. I'm going to come with you.
Anytime say, February 2020, going to New Zealand was literally the best move you could make.
Yeah, well, Martin didn't really like the idea, I don't think. He wasn't as up for it as David. I mean, maybe he's heard from Gail about what a terrible son David turns out to be, and he didn't
Okay,
want to get,
yeah.
pushed down.
Fair enough.
Can you get pushed down the stairs in New Zealand, or do you get
Do you
pushed
think
up
it's-
the stairs? Because they're in the
Upside
they're in the upside down, I don't know.
This is why they
But
don't
whatever it
respect
is, Martin kind of was gently trying to persuade David maybe that it wasn't such a good idea, as did Josh, of course, who was still at the time, despite being a nasty rapist, pretending to be David's friend
sorts of rapists
and
are
saying,
there?
"Oh, David, I don't think you should go." And David's like, "No, I'll definitely go." And Max, Lily, pack your bags. We're off down under. And then he
Is
changed.
it down under if it's New Zealand?
Yes, of course it is down under. We're off to the land of grass and hills and hobbits. But then he changed his mind at the last minute, so that was a bit of an anticlimax, really. And that was the last that we saw of Martin. And I mean, we may well see him again. People have gone down under and come back before in Coronation
And they've
Street.
certainly said, I will never be in Coronation Street again.
They certainly
and been in it
have.
again.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I thought a whole lot of Martin's reappearance, but you know what? It's nice to see it every now and then, isn't it? To see a character that you thought you'd never see again just make a little appearance to
It's
remind us
better-
that it's, they're
It's
still
better
out
than
there.
getting the old, "What's that, Dad? You can't make it? You're busy? Okay, fine. We'll
Yeah.
see you another time."
Exactly. So that's basically all he did. So he's happily. What do they do in New Zealand? I can only think of Australian cliches.
Do you know what they're doing in New Zealand right now?
Partying.
Anything they want.
Yeah, not socially distancing. Martin made a right decision. He knew.
Yeah, we
he
were
knew that was going
recording
to be the
this
place to go pre-pandemic.
in March 2021 in the UK, where we're still in lockdown, but we've had our jabs, so it's only a matter of time before we can live the New Zealand dream.
Oh, I think we've said enough, haven't we?
Yeah, I think so. I think we said more than enough.
Oh, I remember. I was going to say
Oh.
one of the things that I was also not so happy about when Martin came back is that they didn't have him have enough scenes with some of the older characters that he would have, had scenes and storylines with when he was there before. Because he had a thing with Jenny, didn't he, back in the 80s? And I don't think that
Yes,
Martin and Jenny
they
even got a
crashed the
scene
car.
together. They did, yeah, back in 2018.
I
So that was
just
a bit of
remember
a shame.
them standing. I remember him standing in a room, a very like a random set.
Is this
like
2018?
This is when he came back, when he was just standing in some random room talking to David, and that's literally
I think he
the
might have
only
gone
memory
into
I
the
have.
Rovers a little bit.
Really?
But, yeah.
I just remember him being somewhere else that wasn't the street.
It did just feel like a bit of a, oh well, nice to see him.
It did
Didn't
honestly
really do
feel
much,
like
but
there
it's
was
better
some
than
kind
nothing.
of financial. Look, we don't know. Honestly, allegedly, don't sue me. Whatever. It felt like it was a case of, we'll buy you cheese if you come on the show. And he was like, great, yeah, I got to shift 500 tons of cheddar by
And
Tuesday.
It didn't leave me with a sour taste in my mouth in the same way as, say, Silla's Return did, where it's
No.
like, you stayed
It
around too
wasn't-
long and
yeah.
you were kind of out of character,
It
Silla.
wasn't out of character.
No.
It just wasn't that interesting. But we said at the time when we started this profile, and you would have heard us say that he's a fairly forgettable character.
He's not the
despite
most
when
riveting of characters,
When
is
we
he?
did the profile, he was the 29th most featured character.
Yeah,
I don't know
slipped
where
down
he is
that
now.
now.
He must be much further down, but you certainly wouldn't have known that at
You know
the
what?
time.
Sometimes you have to have just, solid.
Background people just
You what-
chilling
I
out.
mean, he's Gail's second husband. It's quite important, really.
Really.
But, yeah, anyway.
That
that
was
ended on a bit of a downer, hasn't it?
that was Martin.
That was Martin. Sorry, sorry,
Interesting
Martin
fact.
fans. We think he's
Interesting
okay.
fact.
And maybe not much more than that.
For Martin and Robin,
Yes.
both of them really should be spelling their names with an IN on the end.
Yes.
But Robin has plumped for a YN.
Oh yeah.
Interesting fact.
Maybe as a sign of their commitment to each other, Martin will change himself to YN and Robin will change herself to IN just to intermingle.
I mean, instead of like expecting the woman to change her surname in the new century, maybe the man changes the spelling of his name and the woman takes his surname.
Yeah, maybe.
There's all kinds of new.
What are we
new
waffling
ideas.
on about? People
Waffling,
You're still
waffling,
listening
waffling.
to this. What are you doing? You've got nothing better to do with your life,
There
YouTube
must be
listeners.
something. Have you cleaned the
Oven.
plug hole in your
Oh,
in your
let's
sink in your
stop.
bathroom? 'Cause
Let's
it's
just stop.
disgusting.
That's enough of Martin Platt chat, and we will see you next time with another classic character profile. Bye bye.